Hello and welcome to In the Garage. I'm Steven Fillers, and today we're going to be installing a Scorpion liner onto a Ford F-250 King Ranch Edition. And with Scorpion, we actually have Dana Mitchell. How you doing, Dana?
Good, Steven. How you doing this morning?
Doing fine, doing fine. Well, thanks for coming in, first of all.
Absolutely, thanks for having us.
What can you tell us about the product here on the tailgate?
So what you're looking at here is a Scorpion XO2 system. It's a 3-part low-pressure batch system applied with a simple hopper gun. So this system is simple for a do-it-yourselfer, an enthusiast, a small line shop, or even a full-blown shop looking to do spray-on bed liners.
All right, guys, well, let's get this installed. All right, so Dana, what are we looking at before we get the install started? Do we have to mix any chemicals? Do we have to sand the bed? What do we have to do to get this process started?
What we're going to do, you actually, do want to protect your truck, so we're going to mask cover with plastic. Of course, protect your spray area. If you've got flooring, walls that you want to protect, be sure and cover those. Then you also want to prep the bed. So we'll use a nylon bristle cut brush. We'll actually sand the clear coat, come back, clean that with a pre-paint cleaner, and then spray in the liner.
Easy enough.
Yes, sir. So now what we're going to do is get this thing ready to spray. So we need to dismantle anything that you don't want in the way, pull your tie downs, your bed bolts, whatever you don't want to have bed liner on it. The next thing, fortunately this one's got a plastic cover on the tailgate, so we're not going to spray it today, but we do want to remove it just to get easier access in and out. If you were going to spray the tailgate, we'd set it off separate on a panel rack, that way you've got room to work between the bed and the tailgate. After we get that off, we're going to mask the truck and start sanding the bed.
All right, guys, so we have the tailgate taken off now, as you can see. Next up, Dana's going to be masking the bed all up to prep it up for the spray on.
So now what we're going to do is establish the tape line. So you want to do a primary tape line and your secondary to attach your masking. With your hot spray systems that dry instantly, you have to use wire tape to get a cut edge on your line. This is a little bit slower dry system, so what we use is just a standard 3/4 inch tape for your primary. Come back and reattach with 2 inch with your masking.
All right, so the kit comes with everything you're going to need chemically, though there are a couple things you're going to need extra to really help protect your vehicle from any kind of spray on or anything like that. What you're going to need is this protective plastic and, of course, some tape. So basically the plastic, as you can see, we've wrapped around the entire vehicle here, the entire truck, to protect it from any spray on that's going to be flying through the air, anything like that, and the tape helps us to keep that in place. So bear that in mind, you're going to need those things as well before you do this installation.
So we're wrapping up the masking, but wanted to point out a couple of key things with this truck. You know, it had a tonneau cover. Of course, you want to remove that tonneau, any of the mounting hardware, all that good stuff. Also had a 5th wheel set up, so we go in and we mask the heads on that, your 3rd brake assembly. A lot of questions we get are about bed bolts, drain plugs, things of that type. That is up to the applicator. Some folks will remove these, some folks will spray over them, or you can mask them. Same thing with your tie downs. Now, fortunately, this material is durable enough that if you do spray these tie downs, it'll hold up to the pressure of the strap hooks and all that good stuff. So up to you as far as how far you want to go in dismantling, what you do and don't want to do.
All right, so everything's all mashed off. Dana, what can you tell us about the next step?
What we're going to do now is prep the surface for the liner. So you've got to give it an abrasive scuff. That way the material has something to bite to. What we use, nylon bristle cut brushes. So 2 things with this. This is a 180 grit abrasive, nylon impregnated with carbide. Want to use a variable speed polisher or a variable speed pneumatic grinder. The reason being is you want to run this about 1,000 RPM. It's much more efficient and the brush will last much longer.
All right, so Dana, we've got the bed nice and scuffed up. What is the process involved? Is there any technique involved in the whole process of this?
Biggest thing that you got to look for is chemically bonding. You want to have a mechanical and a chemical bond. So the scratch process gives you the mechanical bond, and then in your kit we give you an adhesion promoter to give you the chemical bond. Now what we use the cut brush to get the bulk of it. There's going to be areas that brush won't fit into, so have yourself some 180 grit sandpaper. That way you can come back and hit your tape lines and the little nooks and crannies where you can't get the brush.
Gotcha. All right, so for viewers at home, how are they going to know when it's scuffed up enough, or how will they know that they've gone too far, or they're, when's the perfect time to stop scuffing?
What you want to do is just get a scratch on the clear coat. You don't even want to get down to the base coat, so that brush is going to dull the surface. The biggest thing with this being a white truck, that's what you're looking for. You want to get rid of all the shiny spots.
Gotcha.
Doing a colored vehicle, you're going to see an obvious scratch behind the wheel.
Okay, fair enough.
Now I've got everything sanded, so we're going to blow out the excess dust, come back with the Prime Bond cleaner. That's a good pre-paint cleaner to wipe up, pull any solvent, oil, anything out of the way. Put on the adhesion promoter and we'll be ready to spray. So what we're using to clean this bed is actually an alcohol and water combination. The reason we do that is your solvent, your alcohol is going to lift oils, petroleum-based products, things like that. Your water soap solution is going to lift any organic materials, tree saps, things that may have gotten into the bed.
All right, Dana, so I see each of the chemicals here on the in the bed now, the catalyst, the activator, and the adhesion promoter, all the A, B, and C. What can you tell us about each of those, what they do, and how they're going to make the end product work?
Okay, so we scuffed it, we wiped it out with the cleaner. This is the adhesion promoter that we referenced to, so this is your chemical bond. Trigger nozzle comes in your kit. It's a 4-ounce bottle. For a truck bed this size, 2 to 3 ounces is all you need. Just a light mist coat over the entire surface. Okay. Then when we go to mix, you've got basically 4 components of your total mix. So you've got A, B, and C, and then your toner. A is your resin, B is actually your activator. So one thing with this component you want to watch out for is it does settle. So every time you use this, you want to make sure you shake it up real well, get that resuspended. C component is what makes this kit stand apart from the rest, and the fact that it's the only 3 component. This is an acrylic binder and a UV stabilizer. Okay. So as the material dries, it's actually going to flash off a clear coat to it and give you a little extra UV stability. Black toner, of course, we're going to shoot black in this today, but if you wanted to do a custom color, match the color of your truck, discard the black that comes in your kit, add 8 ounces of custom toner, go any color you want. Cool. So, now this is our 2-gallon kit. The convenience to it is it's pre-packed. So you can see this is half filled. Take BC black toner, dump it in the A jug, mix it up, and you're ready to spray.
Wow, just that easy.
That's it.
All right, so Dana, before we start, tell us more about the spray gun that you have here.
Sure thing. So what we did, actually took a sealing texture gun, modified it. It's got a 5-pinhole blow tip and a more minute trigger control on it. So what the trigger does for you, in order to control the texture in the liner, a lot of folks like that real tight grip tape look. Some folks like it to be a flatter orange peel. That's all controlled by your trigger. That's this fluid knob here. So a tighter trigger, smaller particle, tighter texture. Okay. Now, one thing the gun does not come with, air regulator. Strongly recommend getting one of these with your connection, that way you can control your air pressure. Fortunately, with this gun, you can actually spray a bed liner between 15 and 20 pounds of air. Keeps the overspray down, keeps the mess controlled.
Very cool. Also notice you have a can here. Can you tell us about that? Maybe what it'll help us do with the gun?
Yeah, so what we did, the material is very thick. So to run gun cleaners or solvents through it to clean this gun, it takes a lot of solvent. You're gonna waste $15, maybe $20 every time you clean this thing. This is a lecithin-based mold release. So you pre-treat your material feed section, pre-treat the hopper. When you're done spraying, hang the gun upside down in your waste can, let the excess drain out of it, let it dry, peel it out. Fortunately, this can retails for about $13, much less than your solvents.
That's a no-brainer then.
Absolutely.
Very cool. So guys, what we're doing now, we're mixing the components together and getting them ready for the spray gun.
One little trick that we wanted to show you, the gun does have a half lid on the hopper. So spraying underneath the rails, getting the cut in on the headboard, what we do, start out with your lid backwards, put about a quart of material in it, shoot underneath your rail, get your cuts, then when you're done with that, spin the hopper around, finish the job.
All right, so the liner has been sprayed in. Dana, what can you tell us about the next step?
What you want to do now is get your masking off. So we recommend pulling it immediately. Now the trick to it, whenever you run your masking, remember where you start and stop. That way you can start where you stopped, pull it back. So we'll start here at the tailgate, we'll roll it, always roll it into itself to try to contain the mess, get everything off of it. Now where we ran the primary lines with the 3/4 inch tape, try to leave that behind, only take the 2 inch. That way you can come back and use that 3/4 to cut that edge and give a nice break on the liner.
Gotcha.
So now we got the plastic and the 2 inch out of the way. What we left is the primary tape line. The trick to getting that nice cut edge is when you're pulling your primary, make sure that you pull it up at about a 45-degree angle back across the wet material. If you pull it down, then you'll have little stringers that'll come down. If that happens, let them set up for about 30, 45 minutes, pick them off with your thumbnail.
All right, so the liner has been installed, guys, and as you can see, it looks fantastic. Dana, what can you tell us from this point on about the cure process? What can we expect next?
Okay, with this being a solvent-activated system, you've got about 45 minutes to an hour and a half before it's dry to the touch. That's going to depend on temperature. Once that's done, then you're looking at coming back. You know, this had a 5th wheel attachment, a 3rd brake attachment, so we'll let this dry down, remove those, probably let it sit overnight. Now, for the overall cure on it, you want to leave the tailgate down for 24 hours, give it 72 hours before you fully abuse it.
Fair enough. All right, guys, so I do want to thank Dana for coming in today.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks for coming in. The product turned out great. Couldn't be happier with how it turned out.
Right.
Yes, sir, I appreciate it. Guys at home, if you want more information about this kit as a whole, check out the description below for more details and a part number, as well as a dealer locator, so you can find this kit at a dealer near you. Guys, thanks again for tuning in. This has been Performance Corner in the Garage.